Good afternoon, Tim.
Good afternoon, Judge.
Mr. Waterman was here earlier and I told him to log back in and he just has.
Okay.
According to Debbie, Casey is going to be handling this, so we'll wait for a moment for the prosecutor's office to join us. Tim, do you want to talk to Mr. Waterman?
I spoke with him on the phone, Your Honor.
All right, very good. Thank you. I do appreciate that. Doing it on your time rather than my time. Mr. Waterman, can you hear me? We did get all the way connected. Mr. Waterman, can you hear me?
Yes, can you hear me?
Yes, thank you. Your lawyer, Mr. Tim George, is here with us. We're just waiting for the prosecutor to log in. I should let you know that we're doing this by Zoom. Do you have any objection to doing this hearing remotely by Zoom?
No.
All right, we're also on YouTube and we are recording this. And so we're waiting for the prosecutor to join us. Mr. George says he's already had an opportunity to speak with you. Tim, while we're talking about that preliminary stuff, presuming we get through this hearing as expected, the next step would be to reset the pre-exam conference in this case. Next Tuesday may be a bit early, July 13th, but the PEC would be the 20th.
Okay,
Is that for you?
that does, Your Honor.
So there's going to be another court date on the 20th?
Yeah, probably, Joshua. We got to wait to the prosecutor to get here. I'm not sure what the holdup is. But yeah, there'll be the original hearing. Well, I'll explain it when everybody gets here. Everything got put on hold pending this competency evaluation. Here's Assistant Prosecutor Johnson. Are you in a closed car? It must be awfully hot in there.
Yes, sir. It isn't too bad.
Okay. All right. Casey Johnson has joined us. This is the case of People versus Joshua Ray Waterman. The file is 21746FY. Mr. Waterman is here. The allegation in this case, is that on or about April 10th in the village of Constantine that Mr. Waterman did breaking and enter the school building in the village of Constantine to commit destruction of property. It's a 10-year maximum punishable felony. Second count is malicious destruction of a building more than 1,000 but less than 20,000. There was a lot of damage done in the Constantine Middle School. That is a felony punishable after 5 years and or a fine of up to $10,000. Defendant was arrested on those charges and they were scheduled for a pre-exam conference and a preliminary examination. Thank you. And a request was made for a competency evaluation to determine whether Mr. Waterman was competent to proceed with the charges against him. Mr. Waterman, competency has to do with what is your state of mind right now? Are you able to assist in your defense and are you able to understand the nature of the charges against you? There's another defense, which is called criminal responsibility, sometimes called insanity, which has to do with your state of mind at the time of the offense. This is different. Competency is a district court matter, a criminal responsibility in a felony case is a circuit court matter. So you cooperated and went to the forensic center for a psychiatric evaluation, and we received a report. Let me refer to that report. I had everything brought up here. The report is dated June 25th of 2021 from Dana Korwick, Korwek, a certified forensic examiner and licensed clinical social worker from the Center for Forensic Psychiatry. She, as required, sent us a report. I don't remember exactly which day we got it, sometime after June 25th. Theoretically, you're supposed to set a competency hearing within 5 days of the receipt of the report, which I think today is within 5 business days. Mr. Johnson, on behalf of the prosecutor, will you stipulate to the admissibility of the forensic report?
I do. I would, Your Honor.
Mr. George, you also stipulate?
Yes, Your Honor.
All right, I'll receive the report dated 6/25/6/21 or 21 by Dana Corwick. Mr. Waterman, I did read the report. It does reflect some of your struggles from your early teens into your high school years with your mental health struggles. This report is indexed in here. Funny, every other page is blank. I should have printed it. She says some things. Defendant was able to sustain his attention throughout the evaluation interview and did not require excessive repetition of questions, reiteration of information, or redirection of his attention. The defendant's general knowledge and level of intelligence appear to be average, and his judgment for everyday situations seemed intact. She goes on to say, Mr. Waterman correctly identified the charges against him and the meaning of the charges. He provided a rational version of the circumstances and was aware of the details in the police report. He was aware the charges were felonies and the possible penalties for the charges. He understood that a plea of not guilty would result in a trial and a guilty plea would be followed by sentencing. He explained the process of making a plea agreement. Mr. Waterman described that he has confidence in his attorney. He is aware of the importance of the case by discussing his case completely with his attorney to facilitate his defense. He was also aware of the attorney-client privilege. Then she states her opinion. Therefore, based on the information available for this report and the defendant's presentation at the time of the current evaluation, Mr. Waterman, this is hard because there's a blank page. Mr. Waterman appeared capable of understanding the nature and object of the proceedings against him and demonstrated the capacity to assist rationally in his defense if he so chooses. Therefore, it is the opinion of this examiner that Mr. Waterman was competent to stand trial at the time of the evaluation. Mr. Waterman, since I last talked to you, are you still living out on Quaker Street?
No, I'm living in the Whispering Pines trailer park.
All right, who are you living with?
Roy Solis.
Are you working?
Yes.
Where at?
Cut Right Lawn Care and Landscaping.
Who runs that?
Rick Hall.
Are you in contact with your parents?
I got their number. I haven't
Alright.
talked to them that much since I got out.
Are you receiving any mental health treatment right now?
No, but yesterday I went and got my medication from Covered Bridge.
All right, and you're taking your medication as prescribed?
Yes, sir.
I'm very glad to hear that. All right, based on my recent exchanges with Mr. Waterman earlier this month and here today, and the stipulated opinion of the forensic examiner, it is my opinion the defendant is competent to proceed further with these charges. As I indicated, there's clearly some history of mental illness, but it doesn't mean he isn't competent to proceed, and he's been appropriate every time I've spoken with him. Defendant is competent. I'm going to sign the order that says the defendant is competent to stand trial. The case shall continue to the next stage of the criminal process. That will be a pre-exam conference. The defendant is receiving medication to maintain competency. The defendant, in order to maintain competency, shall be administered appropriate medication pending and during the trial. I'm going to check both of those boxes. The next stage of the proceeding would be a pre-exam conference. The pre-exam conference was what was originally set back in late April or early May when this case got set aside for the evaluation. I'm going to set the pre-exam conference for 7/20, July 20th, 21 at 9 a.m. If we need a preliminary examination, it will be set for 7/27/21 at 1 o'clock. There was also an issue of cemetery markers. There was quite a bit of damage in the cemetery, which was not charged in this complaint. Casey, do you know the status of that part of the investigation?
Not at this time, no. I don't have anything new on that.
All right. The only thing then pending at this time, Mr. Waterman, is these two charges from the school. So it's very important you stay in contact with your lawyer, Mr. George. It sounds to me like he's been in good contact with you. You were cooperative and appropriate with the forensic examiner. Answered the questions honestly. Now we're going to proceed to the probable cause portion of this hearing, either by waiver or by preliminary examination. So your next court date will be, at least as far as I know at this point, by Zoom. We're talking about doing actual prelims live sometime in the near future, but pre-exam conference on the 20th will be by Zoom. It'll be a different number, Judge Patterson's court. But you stay in contact with your lawyer, Mr. George, and you'll be here in court on the 20th of July. Mr. Waterman, do you have any questions?
On the 27th, what time will that one
That would be, if the hearing is necessary, it would be at 1 o'clock.
All right.
All right, you probably got lawns to mow. We'll make a determination about that on the 20th at 9 a.m. So you get back to work and you stay in contact with your lawyer. All right, take all your meds as prescribed. That's an important component of this. And don't get in any more trouble.
Yes, sir.
All right, you're good to go.
All right. Thank you.
All right. Casey, do you know if you inherited that motion in Villa Fuerte Ferrar? Or is
I believe Ms. Davis is
right.
handling that.
Thank you for your help with this one. for both of you might want to know what's going on with, because when I read the original affidavit, it described all kinds of damage at the cemetery, which certainly is relevant to all this. And I don't know, I don't really want him to get rearrested all over again on other charges, but probably be good to know what the status of that part of the investigation is before we get to the pre-exam. All right, anything else we should hear?
I don't believe so, Your Honor.
Nothing
All
for
right,
me.
thank you both. I've signed the order. Casey will send it down. You'll get a copy as well, Tim.
All right.
Thank you very
Great.
much.
Thank you, Your Honor.
Thank you.
All right, our next hearing is a motion regarding a warrant